don't remember pulling over. You don't remember leaving either. Not the house, or the conversation that never ended, or the sleep you must have drifted through while the engine still hummed. But the car's no longer running, and the lights are off, and outside the window, it's just that fog. Thick, velvet, unmoving, pressed against the glass like something trying gently not to be seen. You shift in the seat and the leather gives a sound, like breath catching in the throat of the world. Your hand rests on the key but doesn't turn it. You're not sure if it would make a sound if you did. The silence here is dense, deliberate, like it's been practicing. You reach for the door handle and the metal is colder than it should be. It stings like memory. You open the door and the fog flows in first. Not like air, but like thought, like it's been waiting on the other side of the seams in your skull. You step out and the ground doesn't greet you. It simply is, rough gravel beneath shoes that you don't remember tying. The headlights are off, but a soft ambient light, too pale to be moon, too constant to be accident, drips through the fog in all directions. There's no sky, there's no noise, but you hear it anyway. Something underneath, like a signal or a breath or the creak of an old radio trying to find its voice. The road stretches ahead, but it's not just road. It's suggestion. It's story. It's the kind of path you feel in your ribs before you see it. Faint yellow lines fade in and out of focus, like veins beneath an aging photograph. Your fingers twitch, then move to your coat pockets without being asked. Inside, paper, thin, soft, a little damp, as if held too long by someone else. A map, not quite, more like a tracing, a memory of directions scrawled in a hand that reminds you of your own, but written in reverse, or in the dark, or while falling asleep. You hold it beneath the light, no source, just light, and see the lines shifting, not just fading or smudging, but moving, like veins through fog. It shows your location, but that location is a question. Here, the road curls ahead on the page like a snake learning how to sleep, and off to one side, a mark, not a destination, a moment. You fold the map without folding it, and return it to your pocket like a secret. The fog moves again, not parting, but listening. Your breath curls in front of you and doesn't vanish. It draws. It writes in the air, in cursive symbols you almost remember, like script from a half-burned dream you once forgot to finish. You step forward, and the gravel gives way to pavement that doesn't glisten, doesn't reflect, just absorbs you like ink into cloth. Each footfall feels remembered before it lands. You walk, and with every step the world becomes less around, you and more inside, you. Trees edge the road, but not as silhouettes, more like suggestions, like the memory of trees told second-hand. Their trunks are too tall, or not tall enough. Their leaves pulse faintly with light. They do not cast. You pass a sign, but it's blank, not weathered, pristine, untouched, but unreadable, as though language forgot how to live here. You stop, unsure why, and that's when you hear it. Not loud, not even sound, just a pull. a gentle dragging behind the chestbone, a signal shaped like longing, and then, welcome to whispers beyond midnight. Not spoken, not heard, but remembered, as if the fog had been whispering it through the air all along, syllables baked into the silence like heat, forgotten bread. The words bloom inside your mind like they've always been there, not greeting, not warning, something else entirely, a kind of surrender. You glance back at the car. It's still there, but distant, wrong-sized, like a toy left behind in someone else's dream. The fog thickens behind it, swallowing shape and outline. You could return, maybe, but even your footprints are gone. The road ahead pulses gently, alive with the weight of your choice. You walk again, not because you decide to, but because the story decides for you, and the fog approves. It curls around your ankles like it's leading you forward, guiding, or guarding. The air smells like static, like burned sugar, like old cassette tape. Somewhere in the distance, a radio crackles. Not song, not voice, but a looped breath on a forgotten frequency. You reach for your collar and pull it close around your throat, but not from cold, from something else. The quiet kind of chill that arrives when a place knows your name. You walk on, deeper, slower, until the road becomes less road, more memory. The yellow lines breathe beneath your feet like veins. The trees lean in, not to block you, but to witness you. And the fog continues its slow inhale, writing your passage across the world like it's drawing maps in your breath. You don't ask where you're going. The question is too loud for this kind of night. And besides, the road has already begun to answer you. You awaken mid-step, but there was no first step, just motion that began without permission, as though your body had been following a rhythm long before your mind caught up. The yellow line beneath your feet glows faintly, not painted but embedded, as if it's always been there inside you, pulsing faint and slow like breath underwater. Above you, the fog presses low, not menacing but soft and humming, like an old lullaby trapped between radio stations. Your fingers twitch again toward your coat pocket, the way they did earlier or later, and the paper is still there, still damp, still warm, still breathing in that quiet way that suggests it knows your pulse better than you do. You don't take it out right away. You feel it first, as if asking permission. Then slowly, carefully, you open it. Not just unfolded, but revealed, like lifting a veil from an altar you forgot you built. This map is wrong, and right. It shows the road ahead, yes, but also the you walking it. A tiny silhouette etched in shifting ink, moving with each breath you take. And the path it follows is not straight. It loops and coils, curls back, detours us into symbols. The margins are alive with scribbles that appear only when you stop looking. One reads, "The road remembers, even if you don't." Another, "Don't wake the mirror." You blink and the text is gone, replaced by a smudge shaped like your own eye. You fold it quickly, not because of fear, but because of recognition, because some part of you knew that this was never a tool, but a witness. The map is not showing you where to go, it's showing you where you already are. and maybe where you were always meant to remain. The road narrows and the trees come closer. Not physically, but emotionally. You feel them pressing in, not as shape, but as memory. Like figures once glimpsed through curtains at night, or shadows reflected in water that never ripples. They carry no threat, only story, only stillness. Somewhere to your left, a low sound begins. Not wind, not animal, not even a machine. It's a soft, rhythmic clicking, like a typewriter halfway through a thought. And in the air, that taste again. Dust, copper, old paper. A memory of libraries you've never entered, of words you were too young to understand when you first read them in dreams. You look ahead. The fog bends away for a moment, revealing a roadside mirror. Tall, thin, held by a rusted pole that should not be standing. You pause. The mirror is fogged too, but only partially, enough to reflect pieces of you. Your hand, the hem of your coat, but not your face. You take a step closer. That image does not change. Your reflection remains fragmented, like it's choosing what parts of you it wants to remember. Then, as if remembering the map's warning, you step back. Gently. The fog closes again, almost protectively. The mirror vanishes into the mist, like it was never there, but you feel it still. Not watching, but waiting. You keep walking. The pavement beneath you seems softer now. Not with moss, but with time. You realize you're not alone. Not in the literal sense, but in the sensory one. There's something in the static at the edge of hearing. Something that feels like a crowd holding its breath in a theatre that hasn't opened in years. They aren't following you. They're walking with you. In parallel, in memory, you pass an old road sign next. A wooden post, split at the base. The letters smeared by rain or something older. But you can still read one word. Back. Just that. Nothing else. Not welcome back, or go back, or turn back. Just back. And in that moment, it means everything. It means the town you forgot the name of, the voice you never finished answering, the choice you never made but always regret. The fog seems thicker now, but in a different way. Internal. Almost. It seeps into your mind like warm breath on a mirror, distorting not the road, but your memory of it. Have you walked this curve before? You're not sure, but something familiar scratches at the back of your thoughts. A turn, a bend, a dip in the shoulder where a single wildflower once grew crooked and blue. You remember it blooming out of a crack in the road, petals heavy with upward rain. That image haunts your footsteps now, though the flower is gone, or hasn't yet appeared. You're not sure what time this is, only that it's not yours. The radio static rises again, louder now, or clearer. Beneath it, something tries to form words, but they fragment like frost on glass. Syllables catch, twist, break apart. You strain to listen, but not with your ears, with your breath. And then it comes. The road doesn't end. A pause. It loops. You close your eyes, and the words echo inside, settling deep, like dust in a forgotten suitcase. And somewhere behind you, or ahead of you, the sound of something closing, like a latch, or a lock, or a decision. You walk on, Map folded again, though it pulses in your coat like a second heartbeat. You realise then that it's not a map of where you're going. It's a map of who you become the longer you follow. You take one more step, and the fog exhales. The map writes you when you sleep, and the ink hasn't dried. There's a moment, as you cross the threshold between one unseen place and the next, when the fog folds around your ankles like a memory you never told anyone. Not because you were hiding it, but because it had no words. Just feeling, just texture. The air presses gently against your chest. Not hard, but constant, as if testing your outline. You breathe, and the sound is swallowed instantly, absorbed into something older than silence. You don't know how far you've walked. The road behind you no longer exists, not as pavement, not as direction, only as sensation, warmth fading from your heels, breath you can't take back. Your shoulders carry a weight you didn't notice until now. Not burden exactly, but familiarity, like the feeling of a coat worn so long it forgets to feel like cloth. In your pocket, the map flutters faintly, not with wind, but with awareness. Then the static begins, not loud, not sudden, but gentle, slow, like something long asleep turning its head beneath layers of sleep. It trickles through the fog, low and steady, just under your breath. It doesn't come from any direction, but from all at once, above, behind, inside. A radio signal from a world barely tuned in. You stop walking. The road keeps going, but you stop. Because the fog parts, not fully, just slightly, just enough, and something stands in front of you. Not a person, not even a shape, just an outline, a disturbance in the way light folds. Like someone erased something from the fog and left behind the idea of presence. The signal sharpens. Your chest tightens, not with fear, but recognition. And then, without warning, the words emerge, not spoken, not even heard, just known. Welcome to Whispers Beyond Midnight. Your knees nearly give, not because the phrase is loud, not because it's unfamiliar, but because it fits. Because you realise all at once that this is not your first time hearing it. This is not your first time walking this road. This is not your first midnight. The voice, if you can call it that, is inside the fog, the air, your mouth. It doesn't come from elsewhere. It arrives, like it was always here, waiting for you to slow down enough to hear it. It's not greeting you, it's remembering you. Welcome to Whispers Beyond Midnight. The road sighs beneath your feet. Your breath fogs, and the shapes you exhale are not your own. They curl upward, forming letters in an alphabet you once knew in sleep. They spell nothing and everything all at once. You glance to your left. A faint glow pulses through the trees. Not moonlight, not fire. More like memory made visible. Shapes move within it, soft and slow, like figures drifting across a reel of forgotten film, out of sync with the story they came from. One turns. It has your eyes, but not your face. You turn back to the road. The yellow line hums. Your shoes remember the sound of gravel. Behind you, nothing. You try to speak, but your voice is already part of the static. Your thoughts have been transcribed. Your footsteps are being archived in fog. The presence in front of you doesn't move, but you feel it, watching. Not like surveillance, like empathy, like it sees the version of you that almost stayed last time, the one who turned back, the one who never turned at all. It tilts its knot head. The radio crackles. You take a step forward. The presence remains still, but the road widens slightly. Enough for a choice that's not really a choice. Your foot lands on the pavement with a softness that isn't yours, like someone cushioning your arrival. And then, the words again. Welcome to Whispers Beyond Midnight. But this time, quieter, slower, wrapped in breath. You blink and the fog folds in again. The presence dissolves without dispersing, still there, but no longer seen. The static fades, replaced by a rhythm that feels like a lullaby being hummed through an abandoned receiver. You continue walking, not because you chose to, but because something finished choosing for you. You. The road bends, gently, lovingly, like it's being careful not to wake the story too quickly. The trees on either side bow inward, arching above you like the ribs of a cathedral no architect ever built. Small lights blink between the branches, glimpses of past selves peering through from other dreams. The suitcase appears beside you. You didn't bring it, but it's always been with you. You don't remember packing it, but you know what's inside. A snow globe that never shows the same city twice. A flashlight with no batteries, yet always flickering. A photograph of someone you don't recognize, but miss deeply. A mirror too fogged to reflect. You keep walking. Above you, the sky remains invisible. No stars, no moon, only that soft, breath-colored glow that seems to come from beneath your own skin. Ahead, the road splits, but only as an illusion. Both directions lead the same place, the same loop, the same sleep. A sign leans at the fork. It reads, "Wasn't this the place where it started last time? Or next time?" You do not laugh. You do not cry. You simply exist, exactly as the road requires. The map in your pocket flutters again, and from somewhere deep in the fog, a voice like thread against glass whispers, "Leave the static on. It finds you easier that way." You do not respond. You just walk on, knowing you've always been welcome here. You don't notice when the first one dies. The streetlight behind you, the one that hummed like a distant insect buried in honey. You don't see it fade, only feel the absence of its breath. The cold behind your neck deepens in a way that isn't temperature. It's knowing, like something has shifted in the memory of the road, and now that moment no longer exists. You keep walking. The next one dies 10 steps later. This one you hear, a soft pop, swallowed instantly by fog, like a whisper so shy it flinched away from being spoken. You glance over your shoulder, but the dark is smooth, absolute, not empty, not cruel, just clean, as if something came through and erased the world behind you with great care. You realize then that the lights aren't failing at random. They're following you, blinking out like breath being held. The path behind you collapsing gently into forgetfulness, into hush, into stillness that has no interest in being recalled. You speed up without meaning to. The fog doesn't resist. It moves aside in slow, respectful swirls. And somewhere deep inside the folds of it, you feel something else. Something that isn't watching, but waiting. The road beneath you changes texture. Barely. Just enough that your feet notice before your mind catches up. Not gravel, not pavement. Something softer. Something older. You look down and see that the lines on the road are gone. No more yellow seam. No centre. Just smooth, grey surface that stretches forward like a thought unspoken too long. The air feels denser now. Not heavier, but more meaningful. Like it's listening. Like it's recording every breath you take and tucking it into folds of mist for safekeeping. A soft crackling begins. You pause. It isn't loud, but it isn't background anymore. The static has moved closer, like a tide drawn in by the sound of your footsteps. You lift your head, and there, flickering through the trees to your left, is a faint orange glow. Like a street lamp caught behind a veil, pulsing faintly in rhythm with your pulse. You step off the road. Just one step. The gravel crunches, the fog thins, and a narrow path reveals itself. One that wasn't there a second ago. A side trail, maybe a driveway, or a memory. The trees here are thinner, but taller, and they lean toward one another like they've been whispering secrets long before you arrived. The light ahead blinks once, then steadies. You walk toward it, and each step echoes not on the ground, but inside you, like something old being gently knocked loose from your ribs. Halfway down the path, the static fades, replaced by something else. A hum, a lullaby hummed by someone long gone. A voice you once trusted, whispering nonsense syllables in a language built from weather and regret. You arrive at the light. It isn't a street lamp. It's a doorway. Freestanding, no frame, no building. Just a door glowing faintly from within, pulsing orange-red, cracked slightly open. Behind it, fog, as always, but denser. Heavier, trembling slightly, like it's holding a breath it doesn't want to release. Your hand moves to the knob without your command. It's warm, alive. You pause, not from fear, but respect. And somewhere far behind you, another streetlight dies. You push the door open and find yourself standing in a room. The kind of room dreams borrow from memories and memories borrow from loss. There's no furniture, no walls you can touch, just soft shapes where the walls should be. A ceiling of shifting light that pulses in time with your breath. And in the center, a chair, facing away. Something sitting there. You don't move. The figure doesn't move either. Then, softly, it speaks. You were here before. Its voice is yours. Older, gentler, ruined. You don't answer, not aloud, but the map in your pocket stirs again, and you feel a shape pressing against your thigh, like it's grown heavier, like it's remembering too much. The figure turns. You brace, but there's no fear, no jolt, only stillness. Its face is yours, not a reflection, not a twin, not even a future. It's a version of you who never left, who never answered the signal, who stayed in the room, kept the lights on, forgot how to dream. Its eyes are fog, its mouth is static. It stands slowly, nods once, and vanishes. Not like disappearing, but like being released. You're alone again, but you've always been alone. You step backward, through the door, onto the path, and the door fades behind you, as if it was never wood, never real, only memory given shape for a single moment of recognition. You return to the road. The lights are almost all out now. Just one glows ahead, blinking faintly like the last eye of a dying star. You walk toward it, and for the first time, you realize something. The lights weren't just going out, they were blinking, in rhythm, with you, with every step you take. Another beat ends, another breath closes. The road behind you doesn't just vanish, it agrees. And as you walk toward the final light, the static begins again. But this time, it carries a phrase, laced with breath woven into fog. You're not alone. Others stay like you, listening. And you nod, because you understand now. The lights don't fail. They rest. You keep walking. You always do. You don't remember making the decision, but the road bends away from you, and somehow your feet keep moving, not forward, but elsewhere. There was no sign, no fork, no turn-off, not even the hint of divergence in the mist. But the moment is undeniable. You are no longer on the same stretch of road you were walking before. The line beneath your feet has disappeared, and in its place is something softer, something smoother, like old wax or melted time. The fog thickens here, not in density but in intention. It curls tighter around your arms, presses a little firmer against your temples, as though it's guiding you, or questioning you, or both. You reach out to touch something. What? You're not sure. And your fingers brush air that feels textured, almost stitched, like curtains or parchment soaked in breath. To your left, the trees are different now. No longer spindly watchmen, but bloated silhouettes. Their bark too smooth, their limbs too symmetrical. Like they've been designed, printed, placed. Each branch reaching out in mirrored poses, like arms reenacting a scene from long ago. You hear something between them. Not a sound, but a pull. A magnetic weight inside your chest. Like someone calling your name from beneath water. You keep walking. No gravel crunches beneath your shoes anymore. Instead, the surface gives slightly, like earth packed under ritual feet. The air smells of candle wax, old leaves, and something else. Sugar, maybe. Or blood warmed by memory. Your hand goes to the pocket again. The map doesn't resist, but it doesn't welcome you either. You draw it out and find it changed again. Of course it has. There's no road now, just a circle, and in its centre, a mirror. You blink. When you look again, the mirror is gone from the map, but the circle remains. And inside it now, a set of words drawn in cramped loops. You turned because you were always going to. You fold it gently, as if it might shatter. Up ahead, a clearing. Not wide, just enough to make the fog feel embarrassed, like it's not sure how much space you deserve here. And in that clearing, a sign, wooden, crooked, wrong-sized. It doesn't point left or right, just up. The text is smudged, but your mind reads it clearly anyway. Let's go back forward. You don't question it, not because it makes sense, but because it fits the kind of logic that lives in dreams you have when you fall asleep mid-sentence. dreams that never resolve, just fade into the next one. You take another step, and suddenly the road beneath you flashes, not with light, but feeling. A pulse, deep and resonant, like a sonar beat moving through your bones. Then again, 3 pulses, a rhythm. You glance up, and in the sky, or what you think is sky, you see it. The clock. Not large, not looming, just there. Suspended in fog like a pearl in milk. Its hands point nowhere, and everywhere, but the numbers are clear. 3:33. You look down, expecting your breath to stutter, your legs to slow, but instead, you feel calm. Not because you understand, but because you recognize. You've seen that clock before, not in a room, not on a nightstand, but in your reflection, in mirrors that don't belong to you, in puddles that didn't ripple, in eyes that close too slowly. The air thickens, your feet pause at the edge of a shallow ditch, and nestled in the ditch, half swallowed by mud and fog and time, is a road sign turned face down. You crouch, brush it off. On the back, scratched in looping script, you'll find it again where it never was. You want to ask who wrote it, but you already know. You did. Not now. Not here. Not yet. But you did. The suitcase appears beside you again. You didn't bring it, but you brought it. The latches are still shut, but there's a new scuff on the corner, a red thread caught in the zipper. You kneel beside it, place your palm against its side. It pulses. Once, then still. You don't open it. You don't need to. Whatever's inside is not for now. You stand. And just like that, the road is back beneath your feet. The yellow line reappears, not ahead, but behind, flickering to life like an old film reel regaining sync. You take a step forward, and as you do, the fog ahead clears, only slightly, and you see yourself. Not a mirror, not a trick. You, standing in the middle of the road, coat fluttering in wind that doesn't exist. You blink, and the figure disappears, but the impression remains, and the thought that arrives behind it is not yours. It's the road's. There was no turn-off, yet you turned. And you understand, the path does not split. You do. You walk on, not backwards, not forward, but around. And with every step, something behind you forgets how to follow, and something ahead waits patiently to remember. It begins so softly, you mistake it for memory. A hiss, a murmur, a shiver behind the silence, rising not from the sky, but from the ground. The sound is unmistakable once you let yourself hear it, once you stop trying to measure it with thought. It's rain, but it's moving the wrong way, defying the pull of gravity, sliding upward in reverse, drop by drop, delicate and deliberate like someone brushing fingers along the spine of time. You pause mid-step, feel a bead of cold brush past your cheek, not fall onto it, but lift away, tugging faint warmth with it like a goodbye unspoken. The air is damp, but not with water, more like memory condensed. The fog swirls with it, drawing in close, as if trying to hush you before something wakes. You tilt your head, listening, and there it is again. The rainfall, steady now, a ascending into the air like reversed applause. Leaves above tremble gently, but not from wind, from proximity. Like something brushing just beneath their undersides, light as a moth's wing, directional as a compass needle that no longer spins. You follow. Of course you follow, because the rain is calling you, not with urgency, but with recognition. The kind that threads through your ribs and loops behind your heart, where all your unsent letters live. Your feet glide forward before you realize they've left the road again. The path you're on now is softer, covered in moss that drinks in each footprint and leaves no trace. Somewhere behind you a puddle forms, and in it, your reflection. Only for a second, only upside down. You don't look back. Ahead, the mist parts just enough to reveal the source, or what you think is the source, of the rain's impossible path. A clearing ringed with black stones shaped like melted clocks. Their surfaces slick with water that drips upward into the branches of a tree that should not be standing. The tree is bone white, leafless, humming softly like a tuning fork touched by grief. At its base, a suitcase. Not yours, not yet. You approach slowly, rain beads gliding past your ears, catching faint echoes of sound as they ascend. Fragments of lullabies, half-remembered conversations, static-drenched goodnights. You kneel beside the case. Your hand hovers above the latch, then falls away. Instead, you sit, not out of fatigue, but reverence, because this moment feels borrowed, like you're trespassing into a dream someone else forgot to finish. The suitcase hums once, then is still. Around you, the upward rain begins to change shape, no longer simple droplets, but strands, threads of silver, pulling into the sky and weaving faint patterns in the air, patterns that almost make sense. A face here, a road sign there, a silhouette with your gait and someone else's shadow. You close your eyes. Listen. The rain begins to speak, not in words, but in rhythm. And what it says is not translation, but invocation. It tells you, you are not the first. This path has loops. You are walking the echo, you are walking the cause. You open your eyes to find the clearing empty. No suitcase, no tree, just road. You're standing again, though you don't remember rising. The sky is colourless, textureless, almost soft to the eye, like a cloth hung behind stage lights too far to reach. And in that air, again, that hum, you take a step and the rain lifts around you, not falling now, not climbing, but floating, hanging between moments like a decision not quite made. You walk through it. The droplets brush your coat like fingertips, catching on seams, spinning into the lining as if seeking something left inside. Each step forward rearranges the soundscape. It's no longer just rain. It's radio static. Then breathing. Then faint laughter. Then your voice. Reading something you don't remember writing. A sentence without punctuation. A list without names. A story that ends in the middle of a word. You whisper it aloud, not because you want to, but because it's time. And when you do, the rain begins to fall again. The normal way. Down. Except it doesn't land. It simply disappears before reaching the ground. Evaporates mid-air, as if the road refuses it now. As if the world no longer has the capacity to hold more memory. You glance at your hands. They're wet. but not with water, with ink, and your fingertips tingle like they've been writing in your sleep. You check the pocket. The map is gone. In its place, a photograph, grainy, creased. You squint, but the faces are wrong. Blurry, elongated, almost insect-like, and yet familiar. Your eye catches a detail in the corner, the timestamp, at 3:33 a.m. You blink. And just like that, the photo's gone too. You are back on the road. The yellow line pulses gently beneath your feet, alive again, and the fog is thinner now, revealing not clarity, but context. You realize the rain wasn't weather, it was warning, and it chose you. You walk on, and somewhere above, the sky begins to fold itself closed like a page, and somewhere behind, the rain begins again. But now you know better than to look back. At first, you think they're puddles. The ditches on either side of the road, slick with still water that reflects the fog in smooth grey ripples. But the way the light bends in them is wrong. Too sharp, too deliberate, like something trying to imitate reflection without understanding what makes it real. And then one of them shivers, not from wind, because there is none, but like breath fogging the inside of glass. And you understand. They are mirrors, not placed, grown, blooming out of the mud like silent flowers, their edges buried in moss, tilted at angles that defy symmetry. They don't show the sky or the trees or the road beside them. Instead, they show you, but never as you are, only as you've been or might become. You crouch near one, not close enough to touch, just enough to see. In its surface, your coat, but soaked through, your hair longer, your eyes hollow, not with fear, but with distance. This version of you is older, maybe, or maybe just heavier. It lifts its head slowly and doesn't blink. You pull away, heart ticking faintly in your throat like a watch under fabric. The other mirrors begin to activate, one by one, not with light, but with memory. Their surfaces blur and clear and blur again, cycling images faster than your mind can translate. A child's voice humming through static, your own hand turning a doorknob you don't remember ever touching. A fogged bathroom, the mirror wiped clean to reveal no face at all. You stand quickly, almost stumbling, and the road welcomes you back like nothing happened. But the ditches stay with you. They line your path now, mirrors nested like seeds in the soil, peaking just high enough to catch your ankles as you pass. In some, your reflection moves out of sync. In others, it doesn't appear at all. One shows you walking backward, even as you step forward. Another shows only your suitcase, open and empty, with water dripping upward from its corners. You try not to look anymore, but the mirrors want to be seen. They tilt toward you as you pass, curve ever so slightly toward your gaze, glimmer just faintly when you dare glance at the edge of your vision. And it's not vanity they hunger for, it's recognition. They're trying to remind you of something, a version of yourself that got left behind, or sealed inside. A loop you exited too soon. You walk faster, but the mirrors match your pace. The fog thins, then thickens again, but the ditches persist. And then, up ahead, a break, A signpost, metal, bent, half swallowed by the ground. It reads, "Reflections may be closer than they appear." You laugh, a small sound. Nervous, perhaps, or maybe grateful, because you've begun to suspect that humour is the only tool you have left that the fog doesn't understand. You breathe in and smell something new, glass, and behind it, something older, ash, breath, static. You stop walking, just for a moment, just to listen, and the sound is there, clear now, like 100 clocks ticking inside water, all out of sync, none completing their revolutions. Time, fragmented or folded. You look down, at your hands. Your fingers are wet, but the road is dry, and the air doesn't feel like rain. It feels like presence. You crouch again, not to hide, to witness. The mirror nearest your feet is no longer fogged. It's sharp, clearer than glass, clearer than truth. And in it, your face, but with something missing. You can't say what. An expression, a flicker, a scar you didn't know you had until it wasn't there. This version of you lifts its hand. You lift yours too. But only one of you waves. You blink. And it's gone. You're alone again. But the ditch remains. And somewhere beneath it, you're certain a heart is still beating. Not yours. Not quite. You return to the centre of the road. The line is faint now, flickering like film. Your steps no longer echo. They muffle, as though the road is wrapped in wool, trying to keep the world quiet while it remembers how to breathe. You reach into your pocket. Not for the map. It hasn't returned. Instead, you find a slip of mirror. A shard. Triangular. Still warm. You don't remember picking it up, but it's yours. You hold it up to the sky, if you can call this ceiling of mist a sky, and in the shard you see light. Not daylight, not moonlight, but something familiar. The glow of a bathroom nightlight from childhood, the flicker of headlights rounding the bend toward home. The first firefly you ever caught in a jar. You lower the mirror and hold it against your chest. It hums, briefly, then stills. The road tilts gently upward. A hill, maybe, or a suggestion. And you climb it slowly, carefully, like ascending a dream you don't want to wake from too fast. At the top, fog, always. But below that, the sound again. Water, rising. You listen. And from the ditches, the mirrors speak. Not aloud, not in voice, but in you. They whisper what you already know. You are not whole. You left pieces here. You are not walking the road. You are walking your reflection of it. You look down. The mirrors have gone dark. All at once. Like eyes closing in sync. You walk on. Quiet now. Mirrored within. The first sound is a whisper, but not one meant for ears. It slips into your skull like vapour, coiling behind your eyes, humming softly beneath thought. Not music, not voice, just tone. Like the dream of a dial being turned slowly by a hand that doesn't want to choose. The fog vibrates slightly, as if it too can hear it. as if the whole landscape is breathing in rhythm with the sound. You follow it. You don't remember making the decision, but your feet move with certainty, not toward a place, but a signal, like instinct pulled from deep inside your marrow. And soon the static thickens, not louder, just more real, textured, warm, like velvet soaked in longing. The road narrows again. On either side, the trees lean inward, their branches thin and brittle like antennae, stretching for reception, or perhaps broadcasting dreams into soil. Your hands tingle at your sides, fingertips pulsing faintly with invisible electricity, like you've touched a thought mid-sentence. Up ahead, a shape, small, square, metal, a radio, old, cracked, flecked with rust, resting on a stump as if placed gently by someone waiting for your arrival. Its power cord trails off into nothing, vanishing into fog. The dials are already turning, slowly, as if in sleep, and you know, without being told, that it's been listening for you longer than you've been walking. You sit across from it. Not because you're tired, but because something is about to happen. The dial clicks once, then again, and the voice arrives. Not yours, not human, not any language ever spoken, but understood immediately. The cadence of memory, the syntax of déjà vu. You are tuned to the frequency between forgetting and return. You inhale. The air tastes like melted tape and quiet thunder. This transmission is for the listener who walks alone, but is never singular. The radio crackles, pauses, and then begins playing something that could be music if you were dreaming. Strings detuned just slightly. A piano with one note missing. The sound of water in reverse. Your fingers drift toward the dials. You turn one gently. The station jumps, not forward, but sideways. A new voice enters. This one closer, younger, familiar. It's reading something. A letter. Your letter. But not one you ever wrote. One you meant to. One that lived only in breath behind teeth you didn't part in time. I didn't turn around because I was afraid to lose where I was, but because I already knew what I'd see. You freeze. Your breath catches on the next word, though it never comes. You turn the dial again. Static. Wind. Then, a man humming. A lullaby from somewhere warm. Then, a silence so rich you think you hear someone thinking. On the other end, you whisper into the fog, "What is this?" And the radio answers, not with language, but imagery. The fog parts slightly, and you see it, a roadside motel, burned down long ago. Only the sign remains, blinking in busted neon. Stay tuned. Beneath it, a figure sweeping ashes into a pile with a radio balanced on their shoulder. The figure turns. It has no face, but it nods and vanishes. You close your eyes. The static moves inside your chest now, settling behind your heart like a forgotten song looping itself in silence. You know the dial won't move again until it's ready. You speak once more, though you don't hear your voice. What do I do with this? The radio hisses gently. A click, and a single phrase emerges clear as sleep. You carry it. The radio powers down. The stump is empty. You're standing again. You don't remember rising. The fog curls tighter now, not closing in, just pressing close, like a friend afraid to ask if you're staying. You walk. The road returns beneath your feet. The yellow line is gone, replaced by pulse. A slow, steady flicker you can feel with your steps. Your chest echoes with it. The static is quieter now, but it's in you, woven into muscle, bone, memory. You remember now, there was always a voice behind the mirror, always a tone in the stillness, always something dreaming you as you slept. You walk on, and far behind, the radio turns itself back on. But not for you. Not this time. For someone else. Another walker. Another frequency. Another loop. The signal finds who it must. You walk. You carry it. As you hear the crossing before you see it, a soft crunch beneath invisible tires. The hush of air moving where no car exists. The hum of decision before it becomes a turn. Your steps slow, not out of caution, but recognition. Like you've wandered into a place your feet remember better than your mind. And then it appears ahead, emerging from the fog like a story whispered one word at a time. A four-way junction with no signs, no lights, no names. You stop at the center. The air feels stiller here. Not quiet, just paused, like a breath being held mid-prayer. The road beneath you darkens slightly, not with shadow, but with saturation, like ink soaking deeper into the skin of something long forgotten. And to your left, a shape moves. You turn and see yourself. Not a mirror, not a dream, not a ghost, just you. Walking. Coat the same. Suitcase dragging. Except the way you walk, it's off. Not tired, not fearful, just hollow. Like you're moving because something else is pulling the strings, and your body is agreeing out of habit. The other you doesn't stop, doesn't look up, just crosses, diagonal, toward the road you didn't take, and vanishes. Not instantly, not dramatically, just dissolves like fog exhaling fog. You stand there longer than you need to. Your breath rattles softly. The air around your wrists feels strange, tight, almost braided. You lift your hand and realize there's a string wrapped around your finger. Not thread, not twine, something finer, almost like radio wire, but softer, like it's alive. It pulses faintly. You follow it with your eyes. It trails down the road the other you took, but it loops back towards you, into you. A closed circuit. A tether between choices, between selves. You turn in place, slowly, and each angle shows you a new road that feels familiar. You've walked each one, or dreamed about doing so. To the right, a street lamp flickers, though there's no power. Straight ahead, a bench sits beside the road, broken in the middle, as if someone waited too long for something that didn't arrive. Behind, the fog is thickest, but not resisting, more like hiding something that isn't ready to be seen again. You check your pocket. No map, no photo, only a receipt. Creased, faded. On it, a timestamp. 3:30 11:33 a.m. And beneath it, scrawled in pencil, you'll see yourself again when it matters less. And you don't know what you bought. You don't know when. But you keep it anyway. You start to walk forward, you think. But the compass in your ribs doesn't spin. It just vibrates gently, like it's trying to tell you that direction is a kindness, not a truth. As you move, the sound returns. Not footsteps, not rain, but overlapping whispers. Just out of sync, just out of reach. They speak in voices that sound like yours, but younger, softer, asking questions you no longer have answers for. Will I remember the right version? Did I leave too much behind? Was that the real me, or just the echo? The road narrows again. Hedges rise around you now. Strange for this place, trimmed too neatly, unnatural against the chaotic whisper of the trees behind them. In their glassy leaves, you catch glimpses of yourself, dozens of you, walking parallel, some slower, some faster, one sitting down, one running, one staring back, eyes wide and uncertain, mouthing something. You mouth it too. And the hedge cracks slightly. A seam appears, and beyond it, a flicker of movement. You press your hand against the seam, and it opens. Just an inch, just enough for sound to slip through. It's your voice again, but older, rasped, tired. It says, "There is no final crossing, only the ones you don't remember." You step back, the hedge closes like breath. The road brightens slightly, though there's no sun, just a colour correction in the fog, like the dream shifted to a new scene and needed to recalibrate its shadows. You walk on, the crossing now behind you, but you feel it still, looped around your ankle like a thought you forgot to release. You pass a milestone, a real one this time, metal, embedded in the ground. It says, "You are halfway to the moment you'll forget." You nod, not because you understand, but because the road expects it. And behind you, somewhere unseen, your other self crosses again, and you don't look back this time. You hear it before you feel it. A small, precise sound. Not loud, not urgent, just inevitable. A click. The kind of click that doesn't interrupt silence, but completes it. And when you look down, there it is again. The suitcase. Your suitcase. Or rather, the one that has followed you, waited for you, arrived before you at every impossible turn. It sits just behind your left heel, perfectly centered in the yellow line that no longer pulses, just watches. The latches have undone themselves. They rest half lifted, slightly uneven, like wings unsure of flight. The lock is gone, evaporated maybe, or remembered away. You crouch beside it, slowly, carefully. Because something about this moment feels ritualistic, as if your movements are being observed by shadows that don't need eyes. You place one hand on the lid. It's warm, the kind of warmth that doesn't come from temperature, but from memory, like it has been touched before, like someone else opened it in a dream you almost had. You lift the lid. The inside is dark, of course, but not from lack of light. More like the dark is woven into the fabric of the lining, stitched into every corner. and from that darkness rises scent, faint, layered, familiar in a way that skips the nose and settles directly in the chest. Old rain, a smudge of static, pages burned around the edges, a glove without its pair. You reach in, not with confidence, not with fear, just with gravity. Your fingers brush something soft, something thin. Paper? No. Film. You draw it up, slowly, and it shimmers in the air like oil on water. A strip of negatives, 35mm, each frame blurry, overexposed, misaligned. But one thing recurs in every image. You. Not directly. Sometimes just a shoulder. Sometimes your back. Once there's just your shadow beneath a street lamp that isn't there now. In the last frame, your face, Aish, facing the camera, but your eyes are closed, and your mouth is open just enough to whisper. Something you'll never hear. You place the film back into the case, and beneath it, a snow globe. You lift it, shake it gently. Inside, a road, a straight, endless stretch, flanked by fogged trees. A signpost that turns slowly with no wind, no buildings, no people, just the road. And above it, suspended in the glass sky, a tiny clock. Thai D33. Always, no matter which way you tilt it. You set the globe down and feel your pulse align with its snowfall. Beneath it, something else. A radio. Small. Flat. No buttons. Just a dial painted on the front. It's cracked, but it hums. Just once. You don't turn it on. You know better. You leave it inside. And then you find the last object. A mirror. Thin. Oval. Pocket-sized. Wrapped in cloth like a secret you promised not to open. But now you have. You pull it free and hold it up. And inside it, you see the suitcase. Not this version. Another one. Somewhere else. In a room. On a table. With light coming in sideways through a curtain you don't recognize. A figure leans toward it. They're holding something. A pen. They're writing. On a page you can't see. You blink. And the mirror fogs. You lower it. Gently. Return it to the cloth. And then everything inside the suitcase fades back to stillness. Like nothing was ever moved. Like it was all a test of memory. And you failed beautifully. You close the lid. But the latches don't click this time. They simply rest. You stand. The suitcase doesn't follow. It just remains. Open. Waiting. Like a mouth that never finished speaking. You walk. Because what else can you do? And as your steps carry you forward, you hear behind you a second click. But not from the suitcase. From the fog. And ahead of you, a new road. Not longer, not straighter, just more certain. Like it was drawn directly from your thought. Like it has been expecting you. You step onto it and feel the weight of the suitcase disappear from your memory like an ache that served its purpose. But some part of you still hears it clicking. Open. Closed. Open. Closed. Like breath on a loop. You walk faster. But the sound never quite fades. And you know it's not following you. You're carrying it now. Even without your hands. Even without your name. The suitcase is part of the story. And the story has no zipper. only a hinge, only a crack, only an invitation. You don't look back, because the suitcase doesn't need to be watched, only remembered, and you remember. So you walk. Asid, you find the photo on the ground, face down, edges damp with mist, curled slightly as if it tried to forget what it once showed. You hesitate before picking it up, not because of fear, but because some part of you knows that image has already changed once, maybe twice. You lift it carefully, fingers brushing against the back, and the paper shivers, just once, like it remembers being touched by someone else before you. You turn it over. At first, there's nothing, just a white fog where details should be, like breath left too long on glass. But then, faintly, shapes emerge. A door frame, a blurred coat sleeve, and a single eye. Not wide, not panicked, just open, watching from somewhere off-center, like it wasn't meant to be seen. You blink, and the photo starts to fade again. But not from age, from resistance. As if it doesn't want to be remembered. As if memory, when looked at too closely, begins to erase itself. You flip it back over, press it between your palms like you're warming it with silence. And the silence listens. You tuck it into your coat pocket, and it's heavier than it should be. Like it's holding more than image. Like it's holding time. You keep walking. The fog thickens now, not with mystery, but with intention. Each swirl around your knees feels like a frame of film, winding, looping, slowing the reel just slightly, as if to savour what's coming next. The road tilts downward, not steeply, just enough to make your steps lengthen, to make gravity curious again. And then the flash comes, not from above, not from behind, but from within, like a bulb blooming inside your skull. Your vision stutters, your heart pauses, and when it returns, there's a camera in your hands. You don't remember taking it, but it's warm, used, the lens cracked slightly in the corner, the shutter button sticky. You raise it out of habit, out of muscle memory you don't claim. And ahead, the fog parts just enough to reveal them. Figures. 3. All standing still, not facing you, not moving, not whole. You lift the camera. Click. The flash fires. But too early. And the image doesn't stick. You look again. They've turned slightly now. One facing you. No face. Just shadow where the eyes should be. Just static across the skin. You lift the camera again. Click. Flash. But the photo doesn't develop. Not yet. You glance down. Your hand is already holding it. Already shaking it gently like you're coaxing truth from paper. And slowly, shapes appear. But it's not the scene you just captured. It's one you haven't reached yet. A hallway, mirrored on both sides. A suitcase open at your feet. A clock stopped mid-tick. You look up. The figures are gone. The road is gone. The fog collapses inward, and you are in the hallway. Not walking into it, just there. Just within. The camera gone. The photo still in your hand. You walk forward. Mirrors on both sides. Each step reflecting not what you are, but what you were. A child holding a flashlight too tight. A teenager staring at a closed bedroom door. An adult with hands full of nothing and no idea what was lost. You blink, and all reflections change. Now they show you as you are now, still walking, but with the photo in your mouth. You taste it before you see it. Chemicals, salt, dust. And then blackness. When you open your eyes again, The hallway is gone. You are in a clearing. The road winds past you. You are on your knees, hands empty, photo nowhere. But your palm burns faintly with the outline of it, like it left a scar just deep enough to be remembered only at night. You stand, slowly. The road ahead curves right, but a sign says left. The sign reads, "Don't forget what didn't happen." You look both ways. They are the same. You choose neither. You walk straight into the fog. The camera is back in your hand. But there's no film, only a roll of paper tucked in the back. Blank, waiting. You whisper to it, and the shutter opens without sound. The flash doesn't fire, but something behind your eyes does. And when you blink again, you're holding a photo. It's still developing, but you already know what it will show. You, kneeling at the edge of a crossing, holding a photo, watching it disappear. You tuck this one into your coat as well. You're collecting ghosts now, and they're getting harder to carry. But you do. You walk on. And far behind, a flash goes off without a camera, and something forgets your name. Good please. It starts with the ticking, but it isn't coming from anywhere you can point to. Not from a clock tower, not from a wristwatch, not even from a room. It pulses through the fog like a heartbeat looking for a body to call home. Soft at first, then sharper, then slow again. Like it's learning how to count backward from a moment that hasn't happened yet. You keep walking, but every footstep lands just slightly off beat from the tick. The sound grows louder inside your ribs, not echoing but nesting, like it's building a little clock of its own inside your breath. And then, through the mist, you see it. A grandfather clock, standing in the middle of the road. No base, no floor beneath it, no footprints around it. Just fog and silence, and the ticking that now matches your pulse. You approach, not cautiously, not boldly, just rhythmically. As though this was always the next step in the song the road has been humming beneath you. Its face is weathered, but the numbers are clear. All of them the same. Case 3's her. 3 3. 3. 13 threes in a ring where hours should be. No 12, no center, just a circle. The minute hand doesn't move, it quivers. The second hand spins in slow motion, like it's being dragged. And the hour hand, if it's an hour hand at all, drips something dark. You lift your hand to touch the glass, but there is no glass, just mist, hardened slightly in the shape of memory. And when your finger meets it, the clock opens. Not with hinges, with breath. A soft exhale from its center, as if it's tired of pretending to be machine. Inside, water. Thick, black, slow. Not oil, not blood, not quite. You lean in and see the time reflected there. 3:33. Not just once, but layered, stacked, looping over itself like a bad signal, replaying the same moment with slight variations, each version of the time slightly off kilter, the last three flickering, melting, reforming. You blink, and your hands are wet, your sleeves drip with seconds you didn't know you stepped through, and the clock groans, once, long, not pain, just age. You hear your voice then, far away, distant, echoing inside the gears. How long have I been here? No one answers, because the question is the answer. You look down. Your shadow is pointing in 3 directions. Each one leads to fog. Each one leads to road. Each one leads to a moment where you checked the time and felt your stomach drop. You try to step back, but the road is gone. You are standing in water now, just above your ankles, thick, cool, and full of ticking. Each ripple is a second trying to remember what came before it, and below the surface, more clocks, wristwatches, alarm clocks, oven timers, all stopped at 3:33, all submerged, all humming. You drop to your knees, not out of surrender, out of curiosity, and the clock above you lowers, as if offering itself, as if asking you to wind it. You reach forward, and your fingers pass through the pendulum, which has no weight, only echo. You hear a voice behind your teeth, not spoken, just placed there. Time doesn't stop here, it drowns. You whisper back, "What do I do with that?" And the clock responds by doing nothing, because that is the answer. You stand again, slowly, wet, shaking, but not from cold, from saturation. You are filled now, with too many seconds, with overlapping moments. You feel time leak out your cuffs, your collar, your breath. And behind you, the water begins to recede. Not dry, just gone, like it never wanted to stay long, like it was just passing through you on its way elsewhere. The road returns beneath your feet, but it feels different now. Not solid, not fake, just unsure. Like it's waiting to see if you're real. You look back at the clock, but it's no longer there. In its place, a mirror, small, hung in the air, and in it that, you, watching a clock that isn't ticking. You blink, and your reflection walks away. Without you, you keep walking too. But now the world feels slower. Like time is being cautious around you, like it knows you've seen its heart, and no longer believe in hours, only in loops. And the number 3, always the 3, always the moment right before something changes. You glance at your wrist, there is no watch, but your veins pulse like one, and you wonder, when the time drowns, what rises in its place. You don't see the sign at first, you feel it, like a memory brushing against the back of your ribs, too soft to name, too exact to ignore. The road begins to tilt, not up, not down, just slightly away. Like the weight of what's behind you is trying to bend the world's spine. And then there it is, half buried in ivy that doesn't grow from anywhere, leaning just a few degrees too far left to be natural. You approach. It's metal, old, but not rusted. Tired. The arrow is hand-painted, flaking, slanted upward like it changed its mind mid-stroke. And there's no town name, no mileage, just one word, etched in with something sharper than a brush. Back. You tilt your head, and beneath it, in faint letters, you know the way. You stare at the arrow, your feet shift on their own, as if the ground beneath you has begun to rotate. You check your pocket, not for the map, it hasn't returned, but for anything. And there it is, a second photo, creased, bent, but this time already developed. It shows the sign, this sign, from a different angle. From behind it, you're standing in the frame, barefoot, smiling, your hands are empty. You look behind the sign now, around it, half expecting to see your own footprints curling away into the trees. But the ground is smooth. The fog behaves too well. You turn the photo over. On the back, written in looping black pen, "You left here the moment you arrived." You pocket it without folding and step forward. But the arrow still points back. You walk anyway and feel the ground correct itself beneath you, as if the road just remembered how it used to be. The trees begin to look familiar now. Not identical, not exact, but emotionally resonant. A branch here shaped like the one that hovered over your bedroom window when you were 7. A leaf trembling in the rhythm of your grandmother's breath. You pass a rock that you dreamed about once. You were kneeling beside it, whispering something through the cracks. You think the rock whispered back, but you woke up too fast to hear it. Up ahead, another sign. Same paint, same shape, same word. Back. But now there's more. Underneath, scratched in faint lines. You keep trying to loop with straight lines. You don't laugh, but your breath releases something old. A thought that no longer fits in words. You reach out and touch the sign. And it's warm. Not sun-warmed. Warmed by presence. You step past it, and the fog deepens. But this time, not as barrier, but as curtain. You are walking into a theatre you forgot existed, your own memory projected onto the white veil of the world. The next thing you see, yourself, seated on a bench that should have burned down years ago. You blink, and the bench is empty. But that indentation remains. You sit, because you are supposed to. And beneath the bench, carved into the wood with something sharp. Wasn't this the place where it started last time? Or next time? You whisper, "I don't know." And the road answers by staying still. A sound comes from the right, soft, like a footstep on gravel underwater. And there you are again, the other version, walking confidently, without a suitcase, without shoes. This version doesn't look at you, but it pauses at the sign, reaches out, touches the arrow, and walks into the trees. You blink, and they are gone. The bench creaks. You rise, walk forward again, and the third sign appears. Same word. Back. But now the arrow points in a circle, a perfect loop, and beneath it, there is no forward, only deeper. You don't speak aloud, but the fog tightens anyway, not choking, just holding, as if the world is ready to turn the page, but wants to make sure you've underlined this part. You place your hand on the sign again. This time, it pulses. 3 times. Soft. Quiet. Like a heartbeat that belongs to the road. And when you remove your hand, there's something underneath your palm. A smear of ink. Shaped like a spiral. You walk again, and realize the fog is no longer drifting. It's following. Coiling behind you, not as shadow, as memory. You glance back, and all 3 signs are gone, but the feeling remains. You passed something important, but you've been here before, and you will be again. The road curves, your breath sinks, and the sign inside your chest still points the same way. Back. It begins with a whisper, not one you hear, but one you recognize, curled deep behind the tongue, shaped like a sentence you never finished. The words press against the back of your teeth, aching to escape, but your mouth remains closed. And yet, the whisper escapes anyway. It echoes, not forward, not backward, but sideways, folding into the fog like sound caught in a loop of dream silk, brushing the bark of trees too quiet to answer. The air vibrates slightly, as if memory were a frequency, and the world, it is tuning itself to you, not your thoughts, just your voice. You stop, but the whisper continues without you, soft, slow, and now undeniably familiar. Your voice, yes, but not the way you use it now, younger, calmer, just a trace higher in pitch, like fear hasn't settled in yet. You turn your head and it stops, but only because something else has started. A murmur from somewhere near or inside. It's you, speaking, but you haven't said anything. Your lips are still sealed, your breath still shallow, but the sound of your voice is threading through the trees like smoke through keyholes, and it's saying, you were here once, and you said nothing. You walk slowly now, each step placed like punctuation, each pause a comma in the sentence that trails ahead through the mist. You come to a clearing that shouldn't be there, not because it's impossible, but because it's familiar. You've never seen it, but you've heard it. In stories told by others, in dreams you didn't remember having, in memories that don't belong to you. In the center of the clearing, a stage, small, circular, raised slightly off the ground by planks made of wood you don't recognize, dark and smooth and slightly curved, like the bones of something once theatrical and now forgotten. On the edge of the platform, a microphone, not plugged in, no speaker, no wires, just standing there, tall and still, humming softly in anticipation, and carved into the floor beneath it. For the silence you left behind. You step forward, not because you want to, but because you were always going to. The fog pulls back slightly, not clearing, just watching. You climb the stage. The air shifts. Everything else goes still. No birds, no wind, just the sound of you breathing in an audience of ghosts. You approach the microphone, and it hums, gently, with a tone that mirrors the shape of your breath. You say nothing, but your voice echoes anyway. It begins again. You were here once, and you said nothing. But now the words continue. So now, it speaks for you. And then, from the microphone, a voice. Your voice. But from a time that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe a past that never happened. Maybe a future no longer promised. It says, I thought silence would protect me. I thought forgetting would unmake the shape. I thought if I didn't speak it, it wouldn't become real. Each sentence lands heavy, not on the stage, on you. Your knees bend slightly, not from weight, from memory. You listen, as the voice confesses things you never told anyone, things you maybe never knew you were carrying, things that live in the static between heartbeat and breath. And when it's done, the microphone falls silent again. But the fog does not. It repeats the last phrase, softly, in a dozen voices. I thought if I didn't speak it wouldn't become real. Become real. 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 You step back, the stage creaks, and the microphone vanishes. Not with a flicker, not with a flash, just with release. And you're standing in an empty clearing again. The wood beneath your feet is grass. The air smells like old ink, and your throat feels hollow, but not from silence, from echo. You walk, not out of necessity, out of rhythm, because the silence now knows you, because the voice now walks beside you, because the sentence is still writing itself across the fog, and every breath you take leaves behind a syllable you can't quite pronounce. The road reappears, but it bends oddly now, as if it's listening too, as if it's leaning in, eager for your next word. You don't speak, but your footsteps say enough. And somewhere beneath your ribs, a microphone waits. You're walking, and then you're walking again, and again, and again. But the space between each step feels like it doesn't remember the one before. The rhythm doesn't break, but something inside it does. Subtly, silently, the lines beneath your feet stop repeating and start rewriting, as if the road beneath you has grown impatient with direction and begun rephrasing its sentence with every stride. You stop, but the road doesn't. It breathes past you like a sigh you didn't know you were holding, curling out beneath your feet, carrying echoes of your footsteps before they happen. Ahead, the fog shifts, not clearing, not thickening, just forgetting where it was supposed to be. And the curve of the road doesn't lead away from where you came, it leads directly into it. You turn around and find yourself looking at the same bend, the same sagging branch, the same cracked reflector sign, rusted along the bottom edge like a mouth that's been biting itself. You step backward and the road flickers. Not the light, the road itself. As if it's trying to decide whether you moved forward or returned. As if it's tired of pretending those are different things. You walk again, this time slower. You count your steps. 12, then 11, then 13, then 12 again. Your heartbeat adjusts each time, keeping pace with a rhythm that doesn't obey numbers but remembers feelings. You pass a tree with a knot shaped like an open eye. You pass a fence post wrapped in wire that hums faintly when you breathe. You pass the same things again and again, but they're never quite the same. The tree is crying sap now. The post is gone. A mirror replaces it. You look into the mirror and see the same road, but the version of you walking it is holding a snow globe in both hands, staring at it, weeping soundlessly. You blink, and the mirror becomes a sign, painted white, with one word. Again. You ask the fog, not with words, but with motion. Am I looping? And the fog responds by shifting just enough to make you unsure whether you're turning or continuing. Somewhere deep in the forest to your right, you hear your own voice ask a question you don't remember asking. And somewhere to the left, that same voice answers, but not with what you wanted to hear. It says, "You've never stopped. You just kept forgetting where you began." The road trembles beneath your feet, not shaking, more like breathing in reverse. And then a noise, soft, low, a murmur. Tires on asphalt, not close, not far, just impossible. You look behind you and see headlights, dim but coming closer. You step aside instinctively, but the car never arrives. The lights vanish, and the road is empty again. You step back into the center, but something's changed. You feel it in your chest first. A tug, like a memory rising through static. Then in your ears, a faint rewind sound, and then the road speaks. "Welcome to Whispers Beyond Midnight." Not aloud, not new, just again. You remember that line from before, but it feels fresh now, and that makes you dizzy. You stop walking, and so does the fog. The world around you holds its breath, waiting to see if you've noticed, and you have, because now you know you've been here already. Maybe not once, maybe not twice, maybe you've always been here, and the road hasn't looped. You have. Each step a repeat performance in a scene written to feel like discovery. You breathe deeply, and for a second, everything pauses, then resumes. The road continues, but now it starts over. Not from the beginning, from this step. Every step forward becomes the first step, and the road builds itself under you, 1 inch at a time, from pieces it salvaged from your memory. A curb from a childhood walk, a crack that once tripped you in a dream, a roadside reflector you saw in someone else's photo. Each element recycled, but recombined, reconstructed to make you think you're moving forward. You smile, softly, because you've seen behind the curtain now, because the road is no longer trying to trick you. It's trying to comfort you, to let you believe there's a destination. You keep walking, not to escape, but to remain. Because this version of the road fits your feet better than the last. Because this rhythm is one you almost remember. Because even repetition can feel like progress if the fog is kind enough. And the fog is kind. It doesn't press in, it simply follows. Soft, quiet, listening, like it always does. You glance down and find another photo tucked under your shoe. It shows you walking this same stretch of road, but smiling, and ahead of you, just visible in the corner of the frame, a sign that reads, "The road doesn't end, it loops." You fold the photo gently, place it into your chest pocket, and take another step. The road accepts it, and begins again. And it begins with a tick. Not a clock, not a watch, but the soft, wet percussion of a raindrop meeting something unseen. And then another. And then another. Not falling, not splashing, just moving. Slowly, deliberately, across something transparent you didn't know was there. You stop walking, tilt your head, and realize you've been following a wall of glass for some time now, invisible until the rain traced its surface like fingertips across skin. You raise your hand. It meets something smooth, cold, real. A window, set in air, freestanding, framed by nothing, stretching beside you like a film screen too wide to end, and behind the glass, a room. Or maybe a memory, or maybe both. The rain on the other side crawls sideways, not dripping, not streaming, crawling, like it's being pulled along the pane by an unseen force, or following instructions whispered through fog. You peer into the room, dim, colourless. A chair turns slightly away, a lamp without a bulb, a mirror on the far wall, cracked but not shattered, holding its breath. On the floor, a suitcase, closed but trembling. You don't knock, you don't need to. Your breath fogs the glass, and in the condensation, words begin to appear, written from the other side. They say, "You were here when the rain first started." And beneath that, "We've been waiting for you to look in." You press your palm against the window. The rain doesn't stop, it speeds up. The drops now racing sideways in spirals, orbiting each other like memories resisting order. And the room shifts, grows brighter, not from light, but from recognition. The chair is now facing you, empty. The suitcase is open, a photo album inside. Its pages flip on their own. Each image blurs as you try to focus, but they all contain a version of you. In one, your mouth open in a silent scream. In another, sleeping upright in the chair, head tilted too far to be natural. In the last, gone completely, just the coat hanging where you should be. You exhale sharply, and your breath fogs the glass again. This time you write something. What is this place? You wait, and slowly, like a hand dragging ink across breath, the reply forms. It's where the story waits for your voice. You feel your throat tighten, not from fear, but from familiarity. You whisper, "Let me in," and the window opens, not with sound, not with motion, but with permission. Your hand passes through first, then your shoulder, then the rest, and you are inside. But the room does not greet you. It resumes, as though your return was already accounted for in its breath. You sit in the chair. Your body fits it too well. The suitcase closes on its own. The mirror tilts slightly, just enough to catch your reflection from the corner of your eye, but not your face, only your posture, and the rain continues to crawl across the window, from the inside now. You reach for the photo album. Its cover hums beneath your fingers. Your name is not written on it, but your fingerprints already live in the corners. You open to the middle and see a photo that should not exist. You standing at the edge of a lake that's never appeared before in your memory. A sign beside you, blurred, but beneath it, scrawled in pen. 3:33 a.m. You turn the page, and the next photo is blank. A small square of fog captured in glossy print. Beneath it, you turned around too late. You try to flip to the next, but the pages are stuck, sealed. You close the album, and everything in the room exhales. A deep sound, not human, not hostile, just old. You stand again. Your hand drifts to the window, but it's no longer open, just warm. You press your forehead against it, and this time, on the other side, you appear. Outside, walking, You're back to the glass, unaware. You raise your hand to knock, but that version of you keeps walking and disappears into the fog. You step back, and now you are outside again. On the road, the window behind you gone, or maybe never there, but your sleeve is wet, your breath is fast, your heart is louder now. Not faster, just clearer. And above you, the clouds begin to part, not with sunlight, but with sound. The gentle static of rain moving sideways across a surface the world forgot to build. You keep walking, and this time, when your reflection appears in the puddle at your feet, it's already turning to look at you, and smiling. It's in your hand now, the flashlight. You don't remember picking it up, but it feels right there. Balanced, familiar, warm, where your fingers curl around it. Not freshly used, not forgotten, just waiting. You raise it, and the fog doesn't recoil. It leans, like it wants to be seen, like it's been asking to be illuminated all along, but never dared speak it aloud. You click the light on, and it doesn't glow. It pulses. Not steady, not strong, just enough to remind the dark that you still carry a memory of light. You sweep it left. The beam catches a road sign, but the letters run downward like ink in rain. They spell nothing. They drip meaning. You sweep it right. A fence appears, but it flickers. Posts blink in and out of existence, like someone trying to build the boundary from memory, forgetting what wood is made of. You sweep it forward, and something passes through the beam, not seen, felt. A weight, a pause in the air, the taste of static behind your teeth. You take a step forward, and the flashlight flickers violently, not from low battery, from doubt. As if the object itself isn't convinced it should still be working here. It steadies, and in the beam now, a hallway. Not a building, not a home, just a hallway freestanding in the fog. 3 doors, none of them closed, none of them open, just available. You aim the light at the first door. It turns slightly, as if sensing attention. Within, a staircase, spiraling downward into what smells like snow and television static. You don't enter. The second door reveals nothing. Not darkness. Absence. As if light refused to fill the space. You look away. The third door shows a bed. You've never seen it, but you know how it feels. The way the pillow curves. The spot where the sheet bunches. You've dreamt of this bed in a voice that wasn't yours. You step forward. The door vanishes. Not violently, just erased. The hallway crumbles behind it, piece by piece, plank by plank. Like someone deconstructing a stage between performances. You're alone again, but the flashlight is still in your hand. You shine it downward. The road is still there, but not solid. It shimmers faintly, overlaying other roads. Roads from dreams, roads you've drawn in notebooks, roads you walked once as a child before you had language for being lost. You move the beam ahead, and it reveals you for a moment, just a flicker. You, standing still, watching yourself, then gone. You whisper, barely, just to break the silence. What's real? And the flashlight answers, not with words, but with shape. In the fog, the light outlines things that aren't there. A bicycle wheel spinning slowly in the air. A rotary phone half buried in leaves. A photo pinned to nothing, swaying gently as if hung from a nail in the sky. You shine the light into your own palm. The bones are visible, but they shift when you blink. A second wrist, a third thumb. You close your fist. The flashlight dims, then surges, and the road stretches forward again, straight and sure. You follow, each step creating new details in the beam. A glove forgotten on a mailbox, a mirror nailed to a tree with no reflection, a sign that reads, "Only what you look at exists." You stop, turn off the flashlight. Darkness returns, gentle but absolute. You take one breath, then turn it back on. The sign is gone. In its place, a puddle, and in the puddle, not your reflection, someone else's. They smile. Just once. You walk past it. Faster now. But the beam keeps flickering, like the truth has too many shadows. And you're standing in most of them. You click the light off again, and whisper, "If it doesn't see me, can it follow?" But something inside you answers back. The light was never for seeing. It was for being seen. You keep walking, and behind you, the beam flickers once, then disappears. The flashlight is gone, but your hand still holds the shape of it, as if it melted into you, as if it always belonged there. You glance ahead, the road widens, but the fog does not retreat. It walks with you, like a second self, like a dream that never needed to end. You didn't think you'd find the car again, but there it is, quiet, idling in silence that doesn't hum, doesn't tick, doesn't ask to be noticed, just present, exactly where you don't remember leaving it. You open the door, and the light above the dashboard flickers like a memory misfiring. You slide in, hands on the wheel. The keys aren't there. They never were. But the glove box is warm. You hesitate, not because of fear, but because you know what's inside, or think you do. You open it slowly, and the scent hits first. Not old paper, but wet ink, damp leather, sunlight filtered through time, the smell of things that were never supposed to unfold all at once. Inside, maps, dozens, maybe more, rolled, folded, crumpled, layers of direction that never pointed anywhere true. You reach for one. It sighs in your hand, a release, or a warning. You unfold it. It resists at first, then softens. Its creases melt between your fingers, and the ink runs. Place names slide into rivers. Roads curl into serpents. Borders dissolve into fog. You tilt the paper and watch as towns drip downward like tears from the mouth of someone who forgot why they were crying. You try another. This one is blank, until you breathe on it. Then lines appear, faint, shivering, like veins across skin too thin to hold a secret. The lines loop, intersect, then fold back over themselves. In the center, a clock. No hands, just the number 3:33. Written in every direction. Upside down, backward, mirrored. You set the map aside and realize the rest are melting. Slowly, quietly, without fire, without heat. Just releasing shape. Becoming story again. You try to save one, a small square tucked in the back. You unfold it quickly, press it flat against the seat. and it shows only one road. This road, the one you're on. But the map loops. The paper edges fold into themselves. The road curves off the side, bends backward, reappears at the top. A snake eating its own horizon. You turn the map over. Nothing, except a single phrase scratched in pencil. The end is never where you left it. You fold it, or try to. But the folds don't stay. The paper remembers too much and refuses to close. You leave it on the dashboard. It begins to curl toward the windshield, seeking reflection. The other maps are gone now. A puddle of ink and colour pooling in the bottom of the glove box. You look closer and see them swirl. Tiny roads drifting through the liquid. Tiny cars. Tiny versions of you, walking across stains that used to be cities. You slam the glove box shut, gently, but with finality, and the car exhales. Once, your breath fogs the window, and in it, a shape, your silhouette, but not sitting, standing beside the car, watching through the glass. Expressionless, or maybe just distant. You blink, and it's gone, but the fog remains. You step out of the car. The door closes behind you with a softness that doesn't match its weight. You don't look back, because now you understand. The maps were never meant to guide you, they were meant to document you. Each fold a snapshot of your uncertainty. Each route a record of the paths you almost took. You walk, and feel the ink from the glove box clinging to your fingers, staining the spaces between knuckles with names you'll never say aloud. The road ahead glows slightly now, not from light, from memory, as if it's remembering itself because you refuse to stop walking. And somewhere behind you, the melted maps begin to dry, hardening into a new shape, a new story, a new path for someone else. You don't need them anymore. You are not following the road. You are me. I. It. With each step, with each choice to continue, with each moment you don't turn back, and the glove box behind you now closes again on its own and locks. The curve begins so gently you don't notice at first. You think the road is straight. You believe your feet are taking you forward, but the trees have started repeating in ways just slightly off. That branch bends sharper. That stone sits closer to the centre. The fog pools differently, like a memory trying to remember its own atmosphere. You blink, and the bend is more apparent now. You lean without realising, your body adjusting like it's known this tilt since the beginning. You walk. The road hums, not beneath you, within you. A vibration in the chest, steady as breath, low as a lullaby. You feel your eyelids grow heavy, not from fatigue, from rhythm, from the curve. Because the longer you follow it, the more it stops behaving like road, and more like sentence, one that keeps circling the subject without ever reaching the end. The trees blur, not from motion, from memory. They've started folding into one another, trunk to trunk, branch to branch, like they're growing inward. You try to count your steps, but the numbers blur too. 4, 3, 8, again. Your hands swing gently at your sides. Your breath slows. Your shoulders loosen. The curve tightens. But only behind you. Ahead, the road appears straight again. But it isn't. You know it isn't. You close your eyes, just for a moment, but you don't stop walking. And in that moment, the curve becomes your dream. You see a diner with no roof, tables set for people who never arrived, a waitress pouring coffee into a cup that never fills, your name on the receipt, signed in a handwriting you haven't earned yet. You see yourself in a mirror that breathes. You touch the glass, and the reflection exhales. It fogs. And someone writes, "Keep circling, we're almost through." You wake, but your eyes were never closed. You're still walking, and the road still curves. A gentle turn, infinite, patient, kind even, because the curve does not ask much of you, just your agreement, just your sleep, just your continued participation. You check your hands. They're empty, or maybe they're holding something you can't see when awake. You feel pressure in your right palm, a shape, a circle, smooth, spinning slowly on its own axis. You don't look. You know it's the snow globe. You forgot when it returned, but you remember that it always does. You raise your hand, shake it once. Snow swirls inside your mind, upward, not down. A blizzard in reverse. Time lifting off your bones like dust. You hear a voice, your own, soft, close, sleepy. I don't remember how this started. And the road answers. Then you're doing it right. The fog curls close to your ankles now, soft as sheets, and every breath feels tucked in. You glance at the sky, but it's not sky anymore, just ceiling, the kind you imagine from inside a dream, low and quiet, with the fan spinning so slowly it forgets how to turn. You blink, and a light passes overhead, not a star, a street lamp, one you've passed before, 3 times. You smile, the road smiles too. The curve continues. You don't try to escape. You belong to the turning now. Because circles don't trap. They rock. They cradle. They hold. And maybe this one was made just for that. To lull. To soothe. To carry you in place until forgetting feels like home. And sleep doesn't descend, it rises. From the road, from your feet, from the fog curling through your veins like lullabies written in mist. You hum something, a tune you knew as a child, a tune you haven't yet heard. And far ahead, or maybe just beside you, the curve continues, and so do you. You're back in the car, though you don't remember sitting down. The engine isn't running, but the dashboard glows faintly, like it's caught halfway between breath and dream. The seat feels too familiar, too shaped to your body, like it's been waiting longer than you've been gone. Outside, the fog presses against the windshield, like something polite but persistent, a guest waiting to be invited in. Your eyes drift upward, rear view. It's there, hanging still, suspended like a question you forgot to ask. You look into it, and the road behind you is wrong, not just distorted, inverted. The yellow line curves upward into the sky. Trees lean toward it, but their branches move unnaturally, unfolding, bending in slow loops, as if reaching for a version of you they almost remember. And then, without warning, the mirror cracks. Just once. A thin, spidery fracture runs across the glass like a whispered accusation. You don't flinch. You've been expecting it. Maybe not here, maybe not now, but always. You stare at the crack, and it stares back, because something behind it, inside it, is watching. Not a reflection, an echo, a delay. You move your hand, and the mirror moves a moment later. A second you, not simultaneous, just slightly behind. You touch the glass, and it's cold. Colder than it should be, like time hasn't moved inside the mirror the way it has outside. Your finger rests on the crack, and it spreads, slowly, symmetrically, deliberately, like it knows where it's going. The reflection distorts, not into chaos, into possibility. You see yourself, but not here. Standing beside the road, hands in pockets, lips moving without sound. You see the bench again, but this time, you're asleep on it. You see the suitcase open and light spilling out, not from a bulb, not from electricity, but from memory itself, glowing in soft pulses like a lullaby remembered in reverse. And then the crack grows deeper. Something leaks from it, not blood, not ink, something silver, like liquid moonlight. You watch it drip down the mirror's edge onto the dashboard. You reach to wipe it, but it vanishes before you touch it. You whisper, "Is this how I forget?" And your reflection answers, "No. This is how you remember too much." The mirror hums softly, not from vibration, from strain, as if it's holding too many versions of you at once, and each one is depressing against the glass from the other side, asking to come through. You adjust in your seat, and the mirror fractures again. This time you hear it, a soft pop, like a bone being reset, and the car grows colder. You glance at the passenger seat, and there's a fogged mirror resting there, handheld, familiar. Your fingers ache to hold it, but you don't, not yet. You look back at the rear view, and now the road behind you is looping. You see headlights approaching from the horizon, but they never arrive. You see a figure walking, but they never pass the frame. You see the car, this car, driving in reverse, empty. You close your eyes, just for a second, and in that second, something clicks. Not in the car, in your memory. A thought you'd hidden. I've been watching myself leave for so long, I forgot where I was going. You open your eyes, and the crack has stopped spreading, but the glass is webbed now. A spider's map, a starburst of indecision. You tap it gently with your nail. It sounds like ice. You whisper to it, "Show me something I've forgotten." And it listens. The image changes. Your childhood bedroom, dimly lit, walls painted with clouds, a window looking out into a night that doesn't belong to this world. On the bed, a flashlight flickering. You reach for it instinctively, but your hand only finds the steering wheel. You look away, and when you look back, the mirror shows nothing, just fog, swirling, slowly, endlessly. You lean back into the seat, and the hum in the dashboard deepens, like a purr from something old and tired. You press your hand to your chest. You can still feel the crack, not on your skin, but under it, like the mirror copied itself into your ribs. You start the car. though you never turn the key, the engine doesn't roar, it remembers. You shift into drive. The road appears again, but you don't check the mirror this time. You don't need to. You already know what's there. Every version of you still trying to look forward by staring backward too long. You take a breath, and the mirror flickers once more, then shatters inward. Clean, final, silent. You drive on, and the fog parts, just slightly, as if proud of you, as if the road now will curve forward. Not because it's finished looping, but because you're finally ready to sleep through the turn. You open your eyes, and you're already mid-step. The gravel beneath your shoe is warm, like it's been touched recently by you or someone enough like you to leave the same imprint. The trees on either side are leaning in again, arms crossed over one another in a hush. The fog doesn't part. It doesn't thicken. It simply remains. Like a witness too tired to intervene. You glance down and know what you're going to see. The same crack in the road. The same broken reflector. The same feather drifting in air without wind. You are here again. But this isn't déjà vu. This is ritual. You walk forward. Not because you believe it will take you somewhere new, but because something behind you wants you to stop. And you're not ready for that yet. The mile repeats, but not exactly. Just enough is off to remind you the road is awake. The trees are humming a different note now. Lower, a little slower. The mile marker is numbered wrong. Instead of Cluck 26, it reads, Sleep. You stop beside it, press your palm against the post. It shivers, like it recognizes you, like it's relieved. You keep walking, and the fog grows familiar. That's the part that unnerves you most. Not the loops, but how quickly you find comfort inside them. You pass a bench again, but it's facing the opposite direction this time. On the seat, your name, carved in smooth loops. Beneath it, in someone else's handwriting. This is where you almost woke up last time. You sit, not long, just enough for the bench to breathe beneath you, just enough to hear something whisper from inside the wood. Don't move too fast. You'll break the dream. You stand, and the road accepts your return. The same mile, again, this time with more softness. The yellow line pulses like a heartbeat under a blanket. The trees bow gently. The fog offers you a cup of stillness, and you sip it without hesitation. You check your pocket, expecting nothing. But there's a photograph, creased, worn. You pull it out, and it's blank, until you blink. Then, faintly, an image emerges. You, asleep in the back seat of a car. Your head resting on the suitcase. A mirror propped against the window turned toward you. Your reflection in the mirror is awake. You blink again. The photo vanishes, not falls, not fades. Vanishes. You stop, place your hand over your chest. Your heartbeat has changed rhythm, no longer matching your step, but matching the roads. And that's when you realize you're not walking the road. The road is walking you. Each step it lays down is one it borrowed from a version of you still dreaming, still circling, still waiting for something to break the pattern gently, without force. Up ahead, a light, not bright, not promising, just present. You approach. It's a signpost, the same one, the same mile. It reads, "Yes, again." You laugh quietly, not out of humour, out of recognition, because yes, again, you take another step, and the fog behind you closes the loop, like sewing a seam in the story you've already heard, but needed to feel again. Because sometimes knowing isn't enough. You need the mile to speak to your bones. You need to see the same feather drift. You need to find the same bench. Because every time you pass through, you leave a little more weight behind. A little more fear. A little more voice. And the road becomes quieter, softer, truer. You walk until the trees disappear again. Until the gravel turns to smooth. Until the fog lifts just a little. And you realise you are always waking up here. You are always starting over from a step that looks exactly like the one before it. And maybe that's not a curse. Maybe it's kindness. Maybe this mile is your permission to begin again. Without shame. Without remembering the fall. Without rushing the arrival. You take another breath and the mile lets you through. For now. It starts with a note. Not loud. Not clear, just enough to make your shoulder twitch. A sound too familiar to ignore, too far away to trace. Something from a radio that no longer exists, something from a childhood living room with no walls, something from the corner of a memory that hums like a half-forgotten lullaby. You stop walking, listen. There it is again. A second note, followed by a third. Slightly out of tune, but perfectly placed. It's not background. It's not ambient. It's intentional. Music, but old, not aged, just belonging to a time that was never yours. It coils in the fog like scent, like breath, like a story being hummed in reverse. You scan the trees. Nothing moves. You scan the road, no speakers, no radios, no open windows. But the song plays anyway, not loud, not close, just persistent. You begin walking again, but the sound follows, or maybe you follow it. The rhythm matches your footsteps for a while, then shifts, half a beat ahead, like it's leading you, not towards something, but back. You remember this song, not the title, not the lyrics, but the shape of it. The way it curved around a moment when you were too young to understand why your chest hurt when it ended. It was playing when you woke up from a dream where your house was gone. It was playing the day your reflection didn't look like it belonged to you. It was playing in the back of your mind when you first heard the name Whispers Beyond Midnight. And now, it's here again, but without source, without speaker, without beginning. You pause beside a signpost, blank, except for a speaker grill screwed into the wood like an afterthought. You lean in, but it's silent. The music does not come from there. You touch the speaker. It's warm. You place your ear against it, and you hear your voice, singing, off-key, as if in a memory that wasn't yours to keep. You step back, and the fog swirls into the shape of a melody, not solid, but persistent. You look down at the road, and find a cassette tape half buried in the gravel. Its label is blank. Except for a smudge shaped like a thumbprint, you pick it up. It hums faintly in your hand, but there's nowhere to play it, until your other hand reaches into your coat pocket and pulls out a Walkman you didn't know was there. Tarnished, scratched, still warm. You insert the tape, press play. The music continues, exactly as it had before, uninterrupted, but now it belongs to you. Now it lives in your ears. You close your eyes and see a spinning globe, a hallway with no doors, a suitcase that opens by itself and plays a song instead of revealing contents, a mirror vibrating faintly with the bass line. You open your eyes, and the Walkman is gone, but the music remains. It's leaking from your pulse now. Your breath is in 4/4 time. Your feet tap unconsciously, and the trees begin to sway, not with wind, with recognition, because they've heard this too, many times, from many versions of you. They know the chorus before you do. You look behind you and see the shadows dancing, slow, polite, like they've waited for the invitation to move again. You keep walking, and the fog parts to reveal a room, freestanding, walls without roof. Inside, a record player, spinning, but the needle hovers, never touching. The song continues anyway. You step inside, and the air thickens. Not heavy, just meaningful. You sit, not on a chair, on a memory. You don't know whose, but it's soft, familiar, safe. The song fades now, slowly, gently, like someone turning the volume down with shaking hands, until it's just a hum, and then silence. You stand, leave the room, and the fog closes behind you like curtains after a final performance. You check your hands, empty, but vibrating slightly, as if you're still holding the speaker, or the song, or the time it came from. You look up, and in the sky, a radio tower, far, distant, barely visible through the grey, no wires, no lights, just standing there, like it's always been. You smile, not because you understand, but because something heard you and answered. You walk on, and behind you, the chorus repeats, once, twice, then vanishes. You don't hum along this time, but you remember the tune, and that's enough. It doesn't start with a drop, it starts with a pause. A moment when the air stills, like the world is turning its head to listen for something just out of range. Your breath fogs softer than before, curling back into your throat like mist afraid to leave. Then the rain begins, except it's rising, not falling. Droplets climbing the air, slow at first, uncertain, like they forgot which way was down. They shimmer in the light, if light can be said to exist here. Each drop tracing a silent path upward, disappearing into nothing, or maybe something higher. You hold out your hand, feel one pass your palm, not land, not touch, just pass. The temperature shifts, not colder, just older. Your skin remembers this sensation, but not from this lifetime, from a hallway made of mirrors, from the first dream you forgot as a child. And then, as you watch, the rain begins to slow, droplets thickening, lengthening, their rhythm stretched out like time pulled through soft hands. And then, snow, not falling from above, but replacing the rain mid-air. The water doesn't freeze, it simply changes direction, reshapes itself. The snow floats upward, soft, careful, feathers of cold drifting in reverse. You look around, the road is gone, or covered, or rewritten. A soft sheet of memory settling over everything. You take a step, your foot leaves no imprint, not because the snow is shallow, because the snow isn't here for you. It's erasing, gently, softening the edges of everything sharp. You walk slower, because it feels like you're being watched by the sky, or whatever replaced it. And then, You hear the music box. Just a few notes, looped, delicate, the kind you'd find in a childhood toy, or buried in the lining of a suitcase you swore you never packed. The melody repeats, once, twice, then changes. A new key, a colder tone, a memory added into the song like breath into fog. You follow it, not because you mean to, because your spine leans that way on its own. Up ahead, the snow forms a doorway, framed by nothing, outlined only by absence. You pass through, and everything inside is quiet. No trees, no road, just snow falling up and time falling out. You kneel, gather some of it in your hands. It doesn't melt. It remembers. Your palms glow faintly with shapes from your past. A clock stuck at 3:33. A mirror half wiped. A child's voice saying, "Don't turn around." A flashlight flickering over a locked door. You release the snow. It floats upward again, joining the storm that climbs. You look up, and the sky now spins, not in circles, in spirals. You feel your breath join it, like mist rising to complete a sentence. You lie down in the snow, not to rest, to witness. Your eyes scan the sky and find constellations you've never named, but each one hums a note of the music box tune, a lullaby written in frost and silence. You close your eyes and see a snow globe cracked open on a windowsill. The snow inside escaping, swirling through the bedroom like smoke. A hand, not yours, reaching for it. A clock glowing next to the bed. 3:33. You blink, and the image fades, but the cold remains. You sit up, and the snow is gone. No flakes, no drift, just fog again, and a new path beneath you, paved, but wrong, crooked, stitched, like someone tried to remake the road using pieces from other places. You stand, brush yourself off, but your clothes are dry, your skin warm. The snow never touched you, but it changed you. The music box fades into silence, but its rhythm lingers in your walk. And as you move forward, the fog thickens. Not with confusion, but with memory. As if each step forward pulls something back with it. You check your coat pocket, expecting to find snow. Instead, a single flake of paper, cut in the shape of a key. No lock. No door, just the idea of entry. You hold it gently and walk on. As above you, invisible snow continues its slow ascent towards something that will never melt again. You expected the end, not consciously, not aloud, but somewhere beneath your ribs your body had begun to tense for it. That long exhale of finality, the curve unwinding, the fog opening like a door. But it doesn't. Instead, the road curves again, not sharply, not cruelly, just familiarly. A quiet suggestion of return, a gesture in the dark. You take the turn and feel it before you see it. The repetition, the reformation, the way the gravel hums the same syllable beneath your heel. You pass a tree with bark that split like a mouth caught mid-sentence. You pass a road sign turned slightly inward, shy from too much attention. You pass the bench again. This time, empty. This time, newer. This time, watching you. You keep walking, and the road keeps forming beneath you, inch by inch, step by step, like it's listening to your breath and building itself in time with your hesitation. You whisper, Wasn't this the place? But the sentence doesn't finish, because you already know the answer. Yes, yes, this is the place. Again, and again, you press your hand to your chest. Feel your pulse. Steady, looped. You don't panic, because something inside you always suspected the road would never end. Not like that. Not like stories do. Because this isn't a story. It's a pattern, a ritual, a spiral carved into the fog and paved over with memory. You check your coat pocket, a folded note. You unfold it. It reads, "The road doesn't end. It loops." Beneath that, in smaller script, "Don't run. Let it hold you." You refold the paper, place it back, and smile. Not out of joy, but out of understanding. Because maybe the loop isn't failure. Maybe the loop is mercy. Maybe the road isn't asking you to arrive. Maybe it's offering to keep you safely, reliably, endlessly. You pass the same puddle again. It no longer reflects your face. Now it shows a road sign you haven't reached yet. You pass the same tree again. It now has initials carved into the bark. Me. Me. You pass the same mirror again. It shows you walking away. Always walking away. And yet you never leave. You never reach the edge. Because there isn't one. There's only curve. Only return. You pause. Look back. The road behind you is gone. Replaced by a hallway. Mirrored. Endless. A dream you once stepped out of and forgot to seal shut. You turn back forward. The road is still there. Still looping. Still folding its arms around your steps like it knows how easily you could wander if it ever let you go. And so it doesn't. You breathe in. And the air tastes like lullabies sung beneath motel lights. You breathe out. And the fog wraps it gently and carries it ahead, so it can greet you next time you arrive. You glance down, and there's a trail of paper slips behind you now, each one folded, each one written in your own hand, each one says something slightly different. Almost again. You were close. It's okay not to reach it. You crouch, pick up the nearest, and on the back, a map, spiraled like a shell. Its path repeats forever. You place it in your pocket and rise. Keep walking. The trees nod gently. The fog thickens kindly. And the road sighs beneath your weight like it's grown used to you. Like it wants you here. You look up, and above, through a small split in the mist, a circle, no sun, no moon, just light, ringed, soft, constant, like a halo that forgot how to ascend. And beneath it, in the air itself, something written. The road doesn't end. It loops. And this time, you say it with it, out loud, soft, willing, and the loop accepts you, not as prisoner, but as part. You walk on, and behind you, ahead of you, within you, the road turns gently and turns again. It begins with a shape, not startling, not sudden, just present, like a pause in the fog that finally found its form. You think it's a trick of the light, or the absence of it, until the shape moves, and you realize it moves like you. Same pace, same gait, same rhythm in their arms, but not ahead by much. Maybe 10 steps, maybe 2. Hard to tell when the fog breathes between you. You slow. The shape doesn't. It keeps walking, carefully, softly, like it doesn't know you're behind it, or worse, like it does. You watch your own coat, your own back, the slight bend of your spine that you didn't know existed until now. Your voice catches in your throat, but you don't call out. Instead, you follow. Your shoes find your own prints, each one already pressed, each one cooling, and the fog leans in, curious now, as if it too wants to know where you're going, or where you've been. You walk faster. The shape matches you, but it doesn't look back, even when the road narrows, even when the gravel shifts to moss, even when the trees vanish altogether. You pass a sign, you remember passing it before. It says, "Follow if it feels familiar." You don't need permission. You keep walking. The shadow, if that's what it is, never breaks stride. And then it lifts a hand, your hand, waving once. Not to you, not exactly, more like to something beyond you, something behind you. You don't look. You don't want to know. You walk faster. And now, you're gaining. Your breaths align. Your steps harmonize. The space between you closes. Until you reach out. And your hand passes through it. Cold. Not empty. Just memory. You're not walking behind yourself anymore. You're walking inside. The place your shadow used to be. It doesn't vanish. It joins. Slides down into your spine like a second heartbeat. You feel heavier, but balanced. The way a tree feels heavier in wind, but rooted just enough to stand still. You pause. Look down. There's still a shadow, but now it moves slightly before you do. It anticipates. It leads. And when you take your next step, it turns its head slightly. And you see its face, your face, older, calmer, unafraid. And it mouths something you don't hear, but you understand it anyway. Keep going. I've walked this too. You nod, and the road shifts, gently, like water curling into the basin of a memory. You follow your shadow again, but now it moves with intention. It stops at a bend, waits. You catch up. It points. There's a sign, weathered, painted in blood or ink. You're not sure. It reads, "One of you will leave this road. Choose gently." You blink, and the shadow is already walking. Away, off the road, into a field of mirrors set like gravestones. You feel your feet try to follow, but the road holds you lovingly, like a hand on your shoulder. You whisper, "Can I come with you?" And the wind answers, only if you forget who asked. You stay. The mirrors begin to glow behind the trees, but you keep walking forward, and this time your shadow stays with you, inside you, not leading, not following, just with. And the fog closes in again, not to blind you, to carry you, like a cloak stitched from the breath of every version of you that's ever walked this path. You don't turn around. You don't need to. You know your shadow is no longer ahead. You've caught it. You've become it. And the road feels different now. Not lighter, just more true. You glance up, and the sky isn't sky anymore, just glass. And in it, your reflection. Walking, still walking, always walking, but now with purpose. The sound doesn't belong here. Too physical, too certain. A dull, hollow knock, like knuckles brushing against the side of memory too hard, too insistently. You freeze, and the fog around you seems to pause too, not in fear, in recognition. Another knock, not loud, not fast, just real. Your hand moves toward your side before you know why, and then you feel it. The weight, that familiar weight. The suitcase. It's back. You didn't carry it here, but it's with you. Hinges rusted smooth, leather peeled and repaired in places you don't remember damaging. A tag dangles from the handle. Your name, rewritten in cursive, too elegant to be yours. You kneel, place it gently in front of you. Listen, silence, but not empty silence. Held silence. The kind that waits to be interrupted. You place a hand on the lid, cold. You whisper, "Are you me?"
What?
No answer. Only a third knock. Louder this time, but from deep inside, as if it had to travel a long way to reach the surface. You unfasten the latch. It doesn't resist, doesn't open on its own. It waits. You take a breath and lift the lid. Inside, a mirror, face down, unbroken. A flashlight, turned off. The bulb stained with something dark and dry. A clock, not ticking but vibrating softly. The hands spinning in slow circles around a 3:33. Again and again, you reach in. Your fingers brush the flashlight, and it blinks once, without power, without touch. You pick it up, but it turns cold in your hand, not dead, just waiting for permission. You set it aside and lift the mirror. It reflects nothing. No fog, no sky, no you. But your voice echoes from it, not a sound, as thought. A memory you didn't know you'd stored in glass. A phrase. This is the version you left behind. You set the mirror down, face up this time. Still blank, but now it feels like it's listening. You reach for the clock, but it vanishes before your fingers touch. Just gone. In its place, a folded note. You unfold it, and it reads, "Don't open the bottom." You blink and notice there's a second latch beneath the lining. You hadn't seen it before. You trace it with your finger, then stop, because the suitcase is vibrating now. Not violently, rhythmically, like breath, like heartbeat, like song. Something is knocking again, but not to be let out. To remind you, you lean in and whisper, "I remember you." And for a moment, everything stops. The fog freezes. The road stills. Your lungs hold the air like it might break. Then, softly, the suitcase sighs. Not open, not closed, just aware. You don't open the bottom. You don't need to, because now you remember what you packed in there. A version of yourself that refused to let go of things when it was time. A version who thought the loop could be escaped by denying it. You run your fingers over the suitcase lid and whisper. You're safe now. I'm walking for both of us. And with that, the suitcase clicks, closed, sealed, not locked, just complete. You stand, carry it again, not as burden, as balance. The knock doesn't return. The fog presses gently against your sleeves, and the road beneath your feet hums low and steady, welcoming your return. You keep walking, and somewhere behind you, the echo of your voice remains in the suitcase, curled into a lullaby only the fog can hear. And the mirror inside, it finally shows your reflection again, not as you are, but as you're becoming. It crackles before you see it, not sharp, not angry, just hungry. A sound like breath caught between frequencies. A rustle of syllables trying to remember how to pronounce you. You look around. Nothing new. Just the same road. The same fog. The same ache behind your eyes that started sometime after you stopped counting steps. But the sound grows. A soft static. Then a voice. Not loud. Not close. Just there. Whispering from everywhere. No music, no station, just a radio signal without a source. You stop walking, and the voice continues. A whisper through the mist, looping, fading in and out. But this time, there are words, not full sentences, just names. You don't recognize the first few. You think they belong to someone else, until one catches, hooks, pulls. A name you haven't heard since you were too young to answer it properly. A name only one person ever called you. They're gone, but the name isn't. You whisper it aloud, and the static pulses, just once. The radio heard you, and it's responding. You follow the sound now, not by logic, by instinct. Like your ears know where to lead you when your eyes have given up pretending to understand. The fog parts slightly ahead. A silhouette emerges, a shape low to the ground. An old car, rusted, half sunken in the earth like time tried to bury it gently and failed. And inside, a radio. Glowing faintly, still working, still whispering. You open the door, it creaks, not because of age, because it remembers. You sit in the driver's seat, and the static softens. Then, a voice, your voice, but not quite. Older, slower, worn by repetition. Saying another name now, one you used to go by when you thought changing it could keep you hidden. The radio crackles again and offers you another name and another. Some you recognize, some you buried, some you never thought belonged to you, but feel warm on your skin anyway. You whisper, "Why are you saying these?" It and the radio answers. Because you forgot where you placed them. You press a finger to the dial, but there's no tuning it. This station doesn't change. You reach for the volume, but it doesn't move. The voice continues, naming, 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 like it's calling roll in a classroom where all the students are versions of you. You close your eyes and see yourself again and again, wearing different faces, walking different roads, holding the same suitcase, always the suitcase. You open your eyes and ask the radio, "Are they me?" And the radio replies, "They were. They still are. They're waiting." You lean back in the seat, and the air inside the car smells like dust and old rain and something sweet you once spilled during a road trip that never happened. The glove box pops open. You glance. Inside, a list, handwritten, familiar loops. Every name the radio just said. Everyone. You run your finger down the list, and next to each name, a number. Some scratched out, some circled, some smudged beyond reading. You ask, "What are these?" And the radio murmurs, "Lives, loops, tries, versions." You don't ask if you're at the last one, because you already know the answer. You're not. And that's okay. You step out of the car. The radio keeps whispering, but softer now, like it's turning away to let you go, as if it understands this is the moment you choose to carry the names again. Not to wear, just to remember. You walk, and each step feels fuller, as if you've been returned to yourself one syllable at a time. You check your pocket, and there it is. A small radio, handheld, no buttons, no dials, just an antenna bent slightly at the top. You raise it, and the names continue. But this time, you recognize them. Not all, but enough. You whisper, "Thank you." And the fog answers back. Leave the static on. It finds you easier that way. You nod and walk into the silence behind the sound, carrying the radio like a lantern made from forgotten pieces of your voice. The road curves gently, and ahead, the static begins to form a melody. It lies ahead of you in the road, not broken, not fallen, just placed, like someone gently set it there while the fog wasn't watching. A full-length mirror. It's back to you, its frame old wood, bleached, warped, carved with symbols that seem to shift when you look too long. It shouldn't be here, but of course it is. You slow your steps, not from fear, from reverence. The way you might approach a sleeping version of yourself and hesitate to wake them. Because what if they open their eyes and speak before you're ready? You walk a wide circle around the mirror, carefully, softly, and when you reach the front, it faces away from you. Not cracked, not blank, just turned. You see only the back of it, and that somehow feels worse, because you know what should be there. You expect the echo of your shape, the quiet mimicry of your movement, the kind of reflection that lags just slightly too long, but instead, nothing. Just silence. You reach out to turn it, but the fog tightens slightly around your wrist, not to stop you, to remind you, this mirror is watching, even now, even like this. You step closer, your breath fogs around the edge of the frame, and in that cloud, You almost see something. A shape, a gesture. But when it fades, so does the sense of recognition. You kneel, press your palm to the earth in front of the mirror. The gravel is warm, not from sun, from memory. And you feel something pulse beneath it. 3 slow beats, like a heart inside a box you buried but never stopped listening for. You whisper, "Why won't you look at me?" And the mirror creaks, just slightly, as if to say, "You've already seen enough." You stand, walk around to the back again. Run your fingers along the grain of the frame. The symbols there begin to shift again. You trace them. They burn cold into your skin, but not painfully. More like ice melting in the shape of language. You realize these aren't decorations, they're instructions. You follow the line with your hand, top to side, side to base, and suddenly the mirror shifts. Not turns, just trembles. Like it wants to move, but won't until you give it something. You whisper, "Take what I can't hold." And the mirror answers by humming, softly, a low vibration in your spine, a name you never said aloud leaking into the air between you. And the glass, it begins to glow, still facing away, but now alive. You kneel again, place your forehead against the back of the mirror. It's warm now, pulsing. You close your eyes and see yourself standing in a room filled with other mirrors, each one reflecting a version of you not yet finished. Some crying, some laughing, some silent, but all of them facing away. Except one, the one in the center. Your reflection faces you there, staring, but not accusing, not confused, just tired. And you know that's the one walking this road. That's the one who picked up the suitcase, who kept the flashlights off just long enough, who heard the clock and listened instead of fleeing. You open your eyes, and now the mirror is gone, replaced by fog, but the warmth remains in your chest, in your palms, in the shape of your breath. You walk forward, and something follows. Not a sound, not a shadow, but the art, awareness of being seen from behind, from within. You check your pocket, a shard of mirror, just one, curved at the edges, still warm. You hold it up, and it reflects what's behind you. Not the road, not the trees, not the fog, but a room, the same room from before. The mirrors, still facing away, but one is turning now, slowly, towards you. You blink, and the shard dims. You lower it, and walk on. The gravel crunches underfoot, steady, soothing, and somewhere in the mist ahead, another mirror waits, this time perhaps ready to face you. It begins with a flicker, not light, not sound, but something in between, a shift in the tempo of time, an inhale that forgets how to exhale. You glance down, and the gravel beneath your feet is pulsing, slow, steady, each pulse perfectly spaced, like seconds measured by breath. You kneel, and nestled between the stones, a small travel clock, brass-rimmed, scuffed glass, its hands spinning, not forward, backward, not wildly, not broken, with purpose, with poise. You pick it up, it's warm, vibrating faintly in your palm. You turn it over. On the back, a phrase etched in a trembling script. To return is not to retreat. You trace the letters with your finger, and the ticking deepens. You glance at the face. 3:33. Then 3:32. Then 3:31. The clock doesn't care what hour it is, only that it's undoing. You hold it close to your ear, and beneath the ticking, a voice, your own, younger, whispering something half-formed, a sentence cut off by sleep. You close your eyes, and remember a time you dropped a clock, watched it crack, felt something inside you slow down ever since. This is that clock. Or it might as well be. You stand, carry it gently like it might wake something if jostled, and keep walking. The fog hums in reverse. A bird calls, not ahead, but behind you. The trees lean the wrong way. And the sky, you look up, and the clouds are unforming, rolling backward into themselves, like smoke returning to a fire that no longer burns. You press the clock to your chest, and feel your heartbeat sync with its rhythm. Tick, tick, tick. Then, tick, tick. A pause, then tick again. The rhythm is off, intentionally, as if it's waiting for you to notice something. You look around, and the road ahead shortens, not visually, spatially. You take one step, and you're 20 feet ahead. Another, and you're at the signpost you passed 15 minutes ago. You look down, still holding the clock, still counting backward. 3:22. 3:21. You pause, and the air around you shivers. A soft sound, like a memory being peeled off a wall. And then you hear it, a voice calling your name. But not this name, an older name. One you shed years ago in a place that never quite let you leave. You freeze, and the clock skips. 3:18, 3:16. You whisper, what are you trying to undo? And the clock pulses, once, hard, then ticks again, faster, as if racing back to something, or someone. A path opens in the fog, but it's not forward, it's down, a slope, stairs maybe, or the illusion of descent. You follow, carefully. The ground changes beneath you, grass now, then tile, then wood. Old floorboards creaking beneath the weight of everything you haven't said aloud. You look up, a doorway, glowing faintly, and inside, a room, familiar. A bed unmade, a mirror covered, a clock on the nightstand. Spinning backward in unison with the one you're holding, you step in. The air smells of winter, and something sweet you only associate with childhood dreams you never finished. You sit on the bed, set the clock on your lap, and it slows. 3:07. 3:06, 3:05. Your hands tremble, not from fear, from recognition. You lie back and feel the mattress sigh beneath you, like it remembers your weight and missed it. You whisper, "Take me where I left off," and the clock ticks once, and the mirror uncovers itself, and you see not yourself, but the room, empty, lightless, waiting. You close your eyes, and the ticking fades, until there is only breath, and backward breath, and the sound of time letting go of its direction. You wake again, but not as before. You are standing outside the room, the clock is gone, the fog is warm, and the road awaits. No longer behind you, no longer ahead, just wrapped around your pulse, counting softly, lovingly, backward. It's thicker now, not dangerous, not suffocating, just close. The fog doesn't part anymore. It wraps, like breath returned from long ago, like silk made from static. It knows your shape now, and you know it knows. You walk slower, not out of fear, out of reverence, because this fog isn't just weather, it's memory. You feel it drift across your skin, and suddenly you recall a name you hadn't thought about in years, a nickname whispered by someone you lost in a dream. You whisper it aloud, and the fog pulses, a soft glow, like it agrees. You take another step, and the mist thickens, not with confusion, with recognition. The gravel beneath your feet shifts, not in pattern, but in temperature. Warm on one side, cold on the other. You remember a night when you stood at a crossroads, trying to choose between staying or vanishing. You chose neither, and the fog took you anyway. Another step. The smell changes. Fresh soil, wet paper, and something like old ink spilled on carpet. And just like that, a memory returns. You're sitting at a desk, writing a letter to yourself, years in the future. You never sent it. You whisper, "Did you read it?" And the fog curls in a way that feels like a nod. The path curves, not left, not right, just slightly in a way that suggests return. You don't fight it, you follow, because the fog is holding your hand now, softly, gently, like it's carrying you back through a series of doors you forgot closing. You see a shape ahead, a figure, but not moving, just standing, head tilted slightly. You approach and realize it's not a person, it's you, or a memory of you, frozen mid-step, as if paused between breaths. You circle it, and from the front, you see your own eyes, half-lidded, dream-heavy. Your lips move, but no sound comes out. You lean in, and the fog fills the space between. And suddenly, you hear it, a whisper from your frozen self. "I left this here for you. Please remember what I forgot." And the statue version of you blinks, once, then dissolves into mist. Not smoke, not dust. Mist. And the fog drinks it in like breath held too long. You fall to your knees. The ground is soft. You reach out and scoop the fog into your hands. and for a second, you see things in it. A snow globe, spinning without being touched. A suitcase propped open, empty but echoing. A flashlight turned on in a room that doesn't exist. A photo of a road that bends in a direction no map includes. And a clock, still ticking, but not forward, not backward, just breathing. You let the fog go, and it returns to the air with a sound like a lullaby swallowed whole. You rise, the air heavier now, not in weight, in meaning. You check your pockets and find something that wasn't there before. A page torn from a journal, your handwriting, but the ink is run through. Only one line is clear. If you forget again, the fog will keep it. You fold it, place it close to your chest, and walk again. Each step quieter, each breath deeper, because now you trust the forgetting. You trust the road to remember for you. You pass a tree. Its bark is carved with looping letters you can't read, but you understand. You place your hand on it and hear laughter, your own, from a time you thought was lost. You keep moving, and the fog parts, just enough to let you through, but never enough to let you out. And that's okay now, because you're not looking for exit anymore. You're looking for pieces, and the fog knows where they are, even when you don't, especially when you don't. It stores them, keeps them warm, like stories under skin, and when you're ready, it gives them back, softly, slowly, with breath. You whisper, "Thank you," and the fog folds around your voice and carries it forward, because someone ahead might need to hear it too, and the loop doesn't belong to you alone, not anymore. You drift, not because you're tired, but because the road has folded itself gently beneath you, like a cradle woven from mist and memory. All the roads you walked, loops and turns and starts without ends, begin to blur together. They no longer matter, because the steps are no longer yours alone. They belong to the fog now, to the whispers carried between trees, to the silence waiting just beyond breath. You close your eyes and feel the road rocking you like a lullaby sung in the hush between dreams. The suitcase is no longer a burden. The clock no longer counts. The mirror no longer reflects. Everything becomes soft edges and fading light. And in the quiet, you hear the voice you've been searching for. Not loud, not clear, just a gentle murmur inside your chest. You drift, no longer held by story or shape or voice. Only sleep remains, and silence, waiting. You breathe in the stillness, and breathe out the last of the journey. The fog parts one last time, and the road smiles softly, folding into itself, into the space between waking and dreaming. You drift deeper, farther, until only sleep holds you, and the silence waits, just beyond the edge of breath, waiting, waiting, waiting. Copy, edit, end of script, sweet dreams.